what he's up against. On the corner now, plays it.
In the most recent Valorant Masters London, Happyway showed what he was capable of throughout the entire tournament, leading his team to a top 6 finish. He looked lethal out there, especially on Split, so today let's take some inspiration from him and figure out how to play Split like a god. Right, let's start off with the A main lurk wall. Now usually you throw this default lurk wall right up here, which covers both main, and if we walk up heaven here, it covers up heaven so that you can potentially lurk into vents, or you can just take a lot of space towards ramps. Now, this was also sometimes paired with a lurk orb that a lot of people still use. In order to get the lurk orb, you stand this corner, you aim here, right in the between these 4 squares, throw it. It allows you to take this A main space without any repercussions, basically, if no one's peeked through the wall. It cuts off sight lines from ramp, and it cuts off sight lines from A main, allowing you to maybe lurk up in this corner and potentially lurk up ramps if you're playing solo. It also allows your team to explode outside of the wall if they are playing with you. Now, Happyway does something a bit different. He throws this wall every single round he's playing Viper. He throws it from spawn. You can throw this at the start of the round. You go here. You aim like here. I mean, you have to look at the minimap for this one, if I'm being honest. And you throw this wall. Basically, what this allows you to do is that if you look here, it covers both ramp and main, similar to how both the wall and the orb cover both ramp and main for only one piece of util. Now, this doesn't have the benefit of being able to lurk up towards ramp and having this wall on these pings, but it allows you to take some space main and your team can play with you. For example, let's look at the lurk wall for an execute. Now, as we can see here, everyone is A main. There's no exception to that. We'll see how all of these guys path out and explode through the wall with the sky flash. Maybe you can replicate it in your games with like a breach flash or a gecko flash or Euro flash, whatever agent you prefer playing, or your teammates prefer playing, I guess. But we will see here how these guys explode outside of Amen.
I think a lot of talk has to be given over to Life to make sure that he's not doing anything too crazy. I do like that they're giving him some help as well over on the garage side. Meanwhile, XLG though,
by cutting off the sight lines, you don't have to worry about ramps. You don't have to worry about main or like an early main peak without them being decayed. As you can see, the Waylay ult sight and Raze and Waylay are both gonna use their movement abilities to go on site and capitalize off of the ult and anyone who might be playing inside a site. It's really effective for taking this main space and exploding out without the enemy getting info.
Completely other thoughts about this round.
The convergent path set out onto the site. The up and over from Raga, just trying to avoid those thorns that do widely hold back the remainder of the squad, but as those expire, they can start to scale forward, and Fluxen's going to be found and have it Happyway.
Really aggressive with
taking out the Astra, denies the possibility. That Cosmic Divide coming through for a retake.
Viper,
now instead going to have to heavily rely on Life,
from your lurks.
leading the charge with this right back. There's now that showstopper really on the other side in the hands of Nomad.
Of aggression that he really
looking for a scout.
Uses
no one peeking the angles. Ult for ult, and Lysor, boosted up on top. Immediately gets the shutdown. The paranoia going to be sent through. 2 players going to be spotted there and having the showstopper still tabled for now. Turn to the flash, clear the haunt. As that's going to be Happyway holding things down at main.
They can't retake from ramp.
3 kills found, technically on for an ace. But Spirit C1 is frantically trying to retreat. Caution with the one, pinned into the corner, trying to find any value he can possibly get. Draws down with a sheriff, but he will fall. Happyway
he gets the 4K
collects
there.
a 4K.
Really nice.
As
there are a lot of pros and cons between each wall. For example, if you throw the spawn wall every single round, the enemy won't really know if you're lurking or not, or if you're trying to explode out of the wall, or if you're just not there. You could be towards B, which Happyway does like to play a lot. Or if you throw this wall and this orb, you're a bit more committed to the A lurk because you just used both of your smokes in order to take this A control. So you have to be a lot more ready to apply pressure towards A and be pretty aggressive towards ramps, especially if you're on a lurk. However, this makes it a lot easier to work with your wall and your orb in order to get this space. Neither one is bad. Both are actually really good for creating pressure. If you want to play a lot more towards A, then I would recommend using both the wall and the orb. If you want to play a bit more towards mid or B, I just recommend using this wall because it applies a lot of pressure and it's very easy to throw at the start of the round. You don't need to play with this, however, if you do want to go A 1 or 2 rounds, you can, and you can lurk up ramps. It's just going to be a bit harder. Towards B, Happyway throws a very specific orb for the B site. I couldn't find an exact lineup of his, but I'm going to show you it right here and explain why it's so effective. You line up with this wall, like you can see the metal sheets being misaligned. You line up here. You aim anywhere near this disc, specifically on this side. For example, here, or actually it would be like right here. It would be a bit more up. So maybe like northwest, the northwest direction. And you throw this.
Poison orb emitting.
This orb is good because if you were lurking up, you were able to clear close left, and you're able to explode out of it if necessary and take a lot of space. Or your team can explode out of it if you need a wider area to exit B main. This is really good for scaling out, and if someone's peeking you backside, you swing out and you can kill them. Roll the clip. Alright, let's see how Happyway uses his orb in order to create pressure on B main at the start of the round, and also help his team execute a B split later in the round. As we can see, Happyway is isolated towards B here, and these guys are aiming to make pressure towards ramps, as we will see in a second.
Fracture. He's going to need to continue with that, but it's more about the positioning there from Life, able to get out. This time a clear of the Prowler, trying to show a little bit of presence on the other side of the map while they scale forward here.
They attempt to show a hand of having a fast ramps take into maybe an A pivot, trying to draw rotates away from B and trying to allow Happyway and Omen to potentially take space towards either mid or B. Now, what's interesting here is that this doesn't really work, and they'll have to pivot back towards mid in order to get more pressure going, since they're able to knock off Rarga and effectively kill all the ramp pressure that this Waylay and Raze combo is putting on ramps.
Really close to Spirit Z1.
Rarga, the gun barrel's been seen. Spirit Z1 now, wanted to target that kill, and he will. It's his first one on the board. Taking the exit down into the vents. Meanwhile, Life again, putting himself on a bit of an island, and Happyway.
Happyway's just better. He clears out the Phoenix, who's always trying to contest his lurk, and he gets the pick, allowing XLG to transition into a B split after Happyway gets all of this glorious B main space.
Will be able to strike him down. A 1-for-1 at the end of it. And critical ultimates out of the hands of both teams.
Now they start moving.
Want to go over to the other side of the map.
And as you can see, GRG is kind of split in between B
Something a
and
little
A.
bit different.
They have to
Man
be.
could scoop up that orb, get the showstopper. That would be potentially pivotal. They're just going to scale up mid.
Toxins going up.
Slow walk up and flexing. He's now drifting quite far back. Will give up that space so Heaven can be taken relatively for free.
They think maybe a
Smitzy
A split,
starting to lean back,
but
but
as you can see here, it's so hard to counter this. You can't hold from just any angle because you don't know where you're going to get swung from. Both Astra and Fade are playing the site, and they don't know how many people are coming from main and how many people are coming from heaven. So it's really hard for Nick here to see what to do.
A little bit longer on the A side. Nick now, trying to dance around.
Happyway pads out of the left of the smoke in order to swing this guy hiding behind pillar because he thinks everyone's coming from heaven. That's why the smoke is so effective. It denies information into B main, and it also allows you to sneak up either to new box or to backside. It's really a really good lurk smoke, and it provides a lot of pressure, especially in the late round when people don't know where you're going to hit within the last 45 seconds of the map or of the round. Now, you want to use this orb. You can use this orb every round. That's what Happyway basically does. He puts down this orb in order to create a lot of pressure towards B. It's a very effective lurk orb, and it's a very effective hit orb because it acts the same way a Sage Wall would. It allows you to scale up here without too much repercussion, and you can explode out of this orb. However, I think it's actually better than a Sage Wall because a Sage Wall makes it very hard to clear backside. If your team's executing from this orb, you can still scale out. You just dry swing out of the orb with your teammates, and you clear backside, allowing you to take full control of the B side. And now we move on to mollies. The first molly is going to be for if you're worried that they're going to peek out of heaven while you are running into sight, or you just want to get an easy kill on heaven as you're taking a site. You stand on this box. You aim at this black corner right here, and you throw. As you can see here, it lands on the heaven peak, and sometimes it also covers the patience box, so it'll also vulnerable anyone down here. Let me see if I can get another molly to do what I'm saying right now. As you can see, it covers the patience box as well. So if someone's hiding here, they got mollied. It's a really good molly for if you're concerned that someone is going to peek out of heaven. Second one is if you're concerned that, hey, they're going to cross some screens into elbow. You stand in the same exact spot. You aim in the middle of this window. You throw it. And it lands perfectly inside of screens. Anyone who's trying to sneak into elbow while you're trying to plant is going to be vulnerable, and it should be an easy kill if you are holding from either front sight or main. The third one is going to be a post plant molly for this heaven plant specifically. If you want to play it a bit safe and you know that no one is heaven, pretend you're lurked up ramps with said wall from earlier. You can go into this corner right here. Don't get confused with this one, the closest one to ramps. You aim here. You aim the dot of your left click icon. Like, hopefully I'll have it zoomed in or circled or something. With this intersection right here. As you can see, it's lined up. And let's see where it lands. It lands for the open plant for heaven. This is very good because it's perfectly timed, as you'll see. Pretend you know that, hey, he killed your teammate on site and he's going to tap the bomb. You can throw this a bit early. You walk towards heaven. It lands just in time as you're about to peek. This molly I showed you for A is going to be very similar to this one. You go into this corner. You aim the tip of your HUD diamond thing on the bottom of that antenna and it shoots. Basically, what this molly does, it enables you to not worry about anyone who might be peeking heaven and then going back into the smoke. It allows you to punish anyone who's effectively trying to get a quick kill and get out. The next molly I have to show you is a really cool one that I think I learned from Thwyfo. Shadow Thwyfo. If you're hiding behind this one in the post plant, this box in the post plant, you can legit just aim your molly right here. It'll bounce off and it'll hit default. And it works for Brimstone as well. Holy shit, that was bad voice crack. It's very good for post plant, and it's good for the retake if anyone's there as well. If for some reason you want to do it for the retake. For attack, now let's move on to defense. The defense walls, there's basically one that you should be throwing every single time. If you go start out in vents, for example, you go here. If you look on your main map, you want to cover both A ramp and you want it to cover A main.
Toxins going up.
As you can see, it covers A ramp. Anyone who's scaling up A ramp at the beginning of the round, maybe they satchel up. Hopefully your teammates will not get caught if they're holding this. Same thing with A main. It acts as another smoke on top of your main smoker, your Oben, your Astra, your Brimstone if you have one, maybe your Clove. And it alleviates a lot of pressure from the enemy's util. If the enemy tries to explode out of this, hopefully your team will be able to get some kills because they will be decayed. Same thing if they try to take heaven through the wall. I also really like this wall because you can choose whether to have a pocket right here if you want to hide in it and maybe peek out and try to catch someone off guard. Or if you throw it a bit differently, you can have a little pocket hell. So if they're not careful about clearing this, you'll be able to hide in this pocket, and when they flood out, you might be able to get some. If you want to start out towards B as well, you can also throw this wall from spawn. For example, if you go into this corner, you throw this wall right here. It covers a bit of vent, sure, but that's not really that important. As you can see, like, it'll be here, but you can effectively throw this wall and still have the same amount of coverage from the B site. If you want an alternative wall, I will show you a couple. However, I do not recommend these compared to the A1. The A1 is just very useful compared to these ones, which are kind of situational for the most part. This one is going to be a B retake wall. Pretend you know that they're coming B. You could throw this sort of wall where basically it partitions the site into front site and back site. Basically what this wall does is that it splits the site into two. So you're able to clear all these corners. Clear this corner, you can clear behind new box as well. And when you're ready, you can flash through this wall.
Toxin screen down.
And you can fight back site or a pillar. Well, if you're playing on site, it makes it harder, as well as if you want to take space up here, it also can be used for that. For example, you can also cross into this corner if you really so want to, and just play up here. We have an A retake wall. It's going to be very similar to the B retake wall, where basically, when you're retaking the site, you clear here, you can clear Patience box, you can clear Hell, and it allows you to fight for main in the early round, or in the late round in the retake, so that the retake is a lot easier, and that the enemy cannot hold any crossfires on you. For example, a common crossfire is one person hides here, and one person holds from elbow. You won't have to worry about that. If you throw this wall, it's up. Oh wait, bang. If he swings through, hopefully your teammate can also help you and just hold the wall while you clear this corner, or you clear Hell. Early round, you can also just, like, you know, walk up and try to take space. Very useful wall. Kind of a niche use case, but it's recommended. I'd recommend both the B and A retake wall if you have a hard read on where they're going to go. If you know where they're going to go, use it. Alright, for orbs, there's really only one orb that you should be throwing. It's going to be this mid orb. It's very strong, and I'll show you why right here. Basically, it dissuades any push up mid. Anyone who tries to scale up has to use a lot of util in order to clear mid, to clear vents, or to clear heaven, or they will be punished by whoever is holding it. Baits out a lot of util, and it's rechargeable, which is the very, very nice thing about Viper util. Shout out to this person on YouTube for coming up with these orbs. I'm gonna be honest, I could not figure out the vents orb without them. I did figure out the male orb without them, so shout out this person. But basically, you go up to the barrier, you aim at this tile right here.
Poison orb emitting.
Perfect orb for mid. You want to make sure that your orb covers this corner. Sometimes if your orb is a bit too far down, if they walk up here, they'll have like a little gap between the bubble and this box. So you want to make sure that it covers everything. This is a bit wider, so you might have to be careful. For example, if you're holding from vents, you can see everything. But if you're holding from male, they could swing out technically from this side, so you'll have to be careful. If you want to play from male, when the barrier goes down for the orb, you go up to the barrier, you aim at this corner right here, you throw it.
Poison orb emitting.
Perfect orb for mid. Again, it's a bit thick because it has to cover this gap right here. more smokes that I would recommend, if you just want to play on A or B site, you can just throw this one.
Poison orb emitting.
It effectively stops any sort of push through here without them taking a ton of damage. So for example, if you're playing backside and you want to hold, or maybe you're playing towards default or towards the other side of pillar, or maybe heaven, you should be able to hold the smoke, and if they push through, then you should be able to get a lot of kills. And if they don't push through, that's even better, because you did your job as a Viper player. You've delayed them. It's gonna be very similar with A, except this is gonna be more of a site smoke. For those who know, for example, the Sugar Zero smoke on Haven, this is going to be very similar to that. Throw your orb right there.
Poison orb emitting.
It's a bit thick, but that's what we want it to be. We want to be able to play in it and try to just dance in and out of it and try to get as many kills as possible. Let's go over retake mollies. Now, I don't have many of these, but I'm going to show you 2 nifty tricks that I've found. If you want to retake A, for example, and you want to clear out specifically behind map, you can just go up to this corner. You throw it like, for example, if you know where you want to aim it at, you can aim it like right here, for example, like in between, you see the Kingdom logo, you can just see at the bottom, like, edge right here. You throw it. Pretty convenient for clearing out anyone who's behind you. It's a quick little trick. It's probably not going to be useful in every case, but, you know, it's a nice little retake trick if you have really nowhere else to throw your maul. For the final lineup, if you line up in this corner and you aim at the edge of the tip of this leaf, my apologies, it lands in backside. Now this isn't clear fully backside, but you know, it's a cool one to throw sometimes. I don't know. I don't really like this one personally. I'm kind of switching up on it now. I can't lie, but you know, if you want something for backside, here you go. Basically, just want to do what I did and just ult from here. If you want a deeper ult, you can definitely do that. For example, something like this potentially. This covers this entire platform and it extends out a bit more. However, it doesn't extend as far into vents. For example, it doesn't extend this corner, nor does it extend into the ropes. So there are some drawbacks to both sides. However, if you feel comfortable with maybe having a bit more space and not having a bit more fallback room, then I would recommend this one. Finally, leaving off on a bit of a macro note, you don't have to be a passive Viper or Sentinel to play the role well, and Happyway proves that. You can be an aggressive lurker, like how Happyway or Nats does towards B main or A ramps, and try to get the isolated first blood for your team. You can be an entry for your team, helping out trade your duelists, like Happyway does. The point I'm trying to make is that, much like in life, your role doesn't restrict your course of action, but rather gives you something to play around and hopefully confuse your enemy in the long run. You can play it however you want to play, but getting out of your comfort zone and playing many different styles will be the most beneficial for your growth as a player. I'm Adarsh, that's all from me folks, and thanks for watching.